Hi children, last class we studied about Alauddin Khalji. Today we will study about what are the administrative measures taken by Alauddin Khalji. First we will study the land revenue policy under Alauddin Khalji. Land revenue policy. Last class we studied he maintained a strong army. For maintaining this army he need large revenue. So for increasing the revenue of the state he took many measures. For increasing the revenue of the state. So first what he did, he confiscated all the rent-free land. Confiscated or taken all the rent-free land that gifted to the nobles and priests. That is given as a gift to the priests and nobles. Okay, and what he did, he confiscated all the rent-free land that was given as gift to the nobles and priests, and it was added to the state land. And this land was assessed, and 1/3 of the produce fixed as the revenue. This land was assessed and 1/3 of the produce fixed as the revenue. Okay, and a high fertile area like Ganga, Yamuna, though half of the produce that is fixed as the revenue. So this is one measure taken by Alauddin Khalji for collecting the revenue, and the revenue paid in the form of cash or kind. It paid in the form of cash or kind. Then the extra revenue that is collected from the peasant, it was not allowed, or the extra revenue that is collected from the peasants, it was strictly prohibited. Okay, then I told you revenue that is collected in the form of cash or kind. So this is mainly about land revenue policy of Alauddin Khalji. Next we will study about market regulation. What are the steps taken by Alauddin Khalji for controlling the market? Price of the essential commodities were fixed. So that, and he checked the prices. So that the soldiers could live within their income, and a separate market were established. Under some supervisors, and there would be some supervisors for controlling or checking the market, and separate markets for separate goods were established. For example, food grains, clothes, slaves, horses, cattle and imported goods. All these type of goods have separate market. It means separate market established for separate goods. No malpractices and cheatness were allowed. If it so this type of any cheatness or malpractices found, it would be punishable. It would be severely punishable. And the weight and balances of the merchants that were constantly checked. It were constantly checked, and he maintained an efficient system of spies. Many spies were appointed in the market, or maintained an efficient system of spies. So these spies were continuously checked in the market. So for controlling market and regulation, these are the measures taken by Alauddin Khalji. Next topic, reorganization of army. How he reorganized the army. He took many measures for organizing the army. He reorganized and reformed his forces. And he introduced the concept of hulia. Hulia means descriptive role of each soldiers. Hulia means descriptive role of each soldiers. So it is one system introduced by Alauddin Khalji. Hulia means descriptive role of each soldiers, that is called hulia. Another system introduced by Alauddin Khalji, that is dag. Okay, dag means branding of hose. branding of horse, that is called dag. Okay, so he introduced the branding of horses with royal insignia, that is called dag. So these are the two important systems introduced by Alauddin Khalji for reorganizing the army. Huliya means descriptive role of each soldiers. Dag means branding of horses. Okay, so he expanded the boundaries of Delhi Sultans to Madurai. So Alauddin Khalji expanded his boundaries of Delhi Sultans to Madurai, and his empire, that is matched with the Ashoka's empire. Last year we studied about Mauryan ruler Ashoka. He maintained a large kingdom. So in the same way, Alauddin Khalji's kingdom also like matched as Ashoka's kingdom. Alauddin Khalji also maintained a large kingdom, and the Persian poet Amir Khusro was lived his court. Okay, he was the court poet of Alauddin Khalji, Amir Khusro. So Amir Khusro was the court poet lived under Alauddin Khalji. So these are the main point we want to know about the reorganization of army under Alauddin Khalji. After the death of Alauddin Khalji in 1316, there was a war for succession. Okay, so after the death of Alauddin Khalji, there was a war for the succession. Okay, and Malik Kafur, the vice-regent or the governor, he eliminated all the opponents. The governor of Alauddin Khalji, he eliminated all the opponents, and the heir apparent Kisar Khan, the heir apparent of Alauddin Khalji, Kisar Khan also he eliminated, and he assumed the power. He took the power, or he became the ruler. But within a few months or within a month, he was overthrown by his nobles, and Mubarak Khalji, he ascended the throne. Mubarak Khalji became the throne in 1316, and he ruled up to 1320. Okay, and for getting popularity of nobles, what he did, he abolished all the agrarian and market control regulation introduced by Alauddin Khalji. So whatever the measures taken by Alauddin Khalji, that was abolished by Mubarak Khalji for getting popularity. Okay, so what the measures like agrarian and market controlling regulation measures, that everything taken by Alauddin Khalji, it was abolished by Mubarak Khalji. But Mubarak Khalji's rule was ended. Khusro Khan, one of his slave general, put him to death. Khusro Khan put him to death, and he was overthrown by, but Khusro Khan also not ruled much time. Khusro Khan, the rule was overthrown by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, the governor of Dipalpur in Punjab. So Khusro Khan's rule was overthrown by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, and he founded Tughlaq dynasty. So after that, what happened? The Khalji dynasty came to an end, and Tughlaq dynasty started ruling Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, he became the ruler of Tughlaq dynasty. Next class onwards, we will study about Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, so we completed Khalji dynasty. Next class onwards, we will study about Tughlaq dynasty. I think today's topic is clear to you. If you have any doubt, ask me. We will meet in the next class.